Welcome to Faces of Fleet, an interview series from WorkTrack, where we take a more personal look at the many interesting people in Fleet and some of the experiences that help shape them into who they are today. Before we get started, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss an episode. I'm Lauren Fletcher, Vice President of Content at Bobbit, and today I'm chatting with Jason Rascoe, Purchasing and Fleet Manager for Rose Pest Control. Jason's a passionate fleet manager with a broad spectrum of experience and operational knowledge. Starting with a background as a diesel mechanic, he has experience as an emergency vehicle technician and spent several years as a fleet maintenance and repair manager. He's dedicated to managing successful fleets in an ever-changing automotive industry, but after chatting, I found out he also has a background in strategizing as a competitive chess player. I just had to dig in a little bit more to learn about his background and how this skill impacts his days in fleet.
For this month's Fleet News, we have one more recommendation for you. That's because Dave Slade, Chevron's chief technologist, sat down with FreightWaves to talk about the lower carbon journeys of their fleet customers. It's a great conversation with insights into today's solutions and tomorrow's targets. You can find the full episode in the resources at regi.com.
So, welcome, Jason.
How you doing, Lauren?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good.
Can you share just a little bit more about your background and how you got started in this world of fleet management?
Yeah, the world of fleet management started for me. I became an emergency vehicle technician for the City of Detroit Fire Department. And during the course of that, I began to spec out and just build fire trucks almost from ground up, and didn't realize at first that I was actually managing part of the fleet. And once that world opened up, it was awesome.
Falling into it like the rest of us, I see.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
how did you first start playing chess, and what really drew you to that game?
I was in fifth grade at Dorothy Fisher Middle School in Detroit, and it was placed on my schedule. I never asked for it, but it was placed on my schedule. I began to play the game. It was something I loved, so it just worked out that way.
And so you mentioned to me you actually used to travel for chess tournaments. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and how it influenced you today?
Yeah, during school competitions, we traveled to many places for like the national championship. They were hosted in South Dakota, California, Florida, New York. It was really where I got my first taste of traveling.
And then you mentioned that you started going and playing online. And I'm sure that transitioning from those more physical tournaments to online play is quite a bit different. What really prompted that shift to online chess, and how did it compare to going to a physical tournament?
So, being in a professional working world, I didn't have the same amount of time for competitions as I had before, because chess competitions can last up to 3 or 4 days, as you weed through the entire competitive field. But so to stay competitive and have that competitive edge, online became a great, great deal for me. And but it's a lot more competitive because it's abroad. And I remember I took the worst beating I've ever had from a 12-year-old Russian phenom, and I was 31. So it was a wake-up call.
Well, I think everyone really sees chess as a game of strategy. Do you find any parallels between your approach to chess and your approach to managing a fleet of vehicles?
Absolutely. Chess creates a habit of thinking ahead, to avoid destruction. And you got to position yourself for success. So you have to do that in the fleet world as well. And it's definitely a positive to have that type of mentality as you approach fleet situations.
And I think, one really interesting thing is, chess is seen more as an individual pursuit, while fleet management often involves a lot more collaboration and teamwork. Do you find any conflicts or harmonies between those two aspects of your life?
Yeah, they could seem like polar opposites, but I think chess adds that positive factor that's prepared me for success in this area of fleet management. Whenever I have to do things on my own, I can accomplish it.
So I think along those lines, decision making is absolutely crucial in both chess and fleet management. Is there a particularly challenging decision you've had to make in either realm? And how did you approach that?
Um, I don't know. Well, the hardest decision I would have to make in chess is to not lose. But the most crucial moves in fleet would for me would wrap around safety. The safest vehicles to get the crash ratings. The tires and how they handle in certain weather conditions compared to the north of the country and in the south, and just safety is the most crucial decision I have to make. And if you blunder there, it could cost big. So try not to have any mishaps in that area.
And so, what about the competitive nature of chess and that more collaborative aspect of fleet management? How do you balance those two sides?
Okay, so in the game of chess, you have a clock. If you can play competitively, and you have to beat your opponent and the clock. So I would suggest nobody bring a chess clock into my office because then we're gonna have problems. But the fleet world is so broad that there's really no room for competition. There's only room for collaboration. So it's not the same as a chess game.
So I think what prompted this conversation between us was we were talking about ways that we unwind. And I just found it astounding that you found chess as a way to unwind. For me, it's absolutely stressful. But
Mhm.
what advice would you give to other fleet managers who might be looking for ways to unwind and find that balance in their lives, similar to how
Yeah.
you use chess?
I would suggest you find that thing that you like to do, and my advice would be to schedule that as part of your relaxation. I think sometimes we take vacation and we'll pack our vacation with things to do, and we never really vacated a schedule. So find that thing you like to do, schedule time, and that's your relaxation time. And sometimes relaxing on that pillow can be scheduled relaxation time.
I love it.
Yeah.
Jason, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me and share a little bit about your passion and that personal story.
Absolutely, Lauren. I loved it. It was awesome.
So, for anyone interested in more episodes of Faces or Fleet or Chuck Chat, check out the links below. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button and comment below to let me know who I should be chatting with next. And be on the lookout for more episodes of Truck Chat coming soon, where I'll continue to focus on the people and the issues that matter most to work truck fleets.